you guys see that in regards to wanting? I was like, first off, I'm coming from the scriptures. I'm a spiritual teacher. I'm coming from the scriptures. So I spoke about balance and stuff like that. And at the end, I spoke about the aspect of the difference between a man and a male. We're a male because we have a penis, but that doesn't make us men. So I got chewed out for that because it was like, well, how I'm supposed to know the difference between a man and a male? Because so if you're a man, you're a man. You can't try to, take titles and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, but just the lack of thoughts. So I just want to know, like, do y'all see that?
Shit, somebody got his hand up and down.
Yeah, I just want to give thanks to the Most High first, but Sean Ox, but could you break that question down again? Because I think I missed it. I think I know what you're saying. I just want to make sure.
Okay. So pretty much, first and foremost, as you said, my fault. All praise to the Most High Yah. Sort of for allowing us to get together again. May He be in the midst of us, even as we have this conversation. Um, what I was saying is, do you see the mindsets, the thought processes, the way that people reason within themselves and with others, and how that is without the presence of Yisrael, without the presence of true Yisrael? And why is it that we're so hell bent on being set apart that we are failing to do the job that He asked us to do?
So, are you basically saying is why do people in our community always have so much dysfunction and want to create so these different categories or groups amongst themselves? Is that what you're saying?
Say that again, Adon.
No, I was saying, are you basically saying that why do people in our group, basically our community, have so much dysfunction and confusion, and why can't we basically just create something as one people? Is that what you're saying, basically?
No, sir. I'm what I'm saying is, do you see what the people, like people who are not in this paradigm, think and speak about, um, and they are allowed to do it, right? So they're say you're on a train or something like that, and you just listen to people talk
Right.
and the way that they reason and their thought processes and things like that. And do you see what has happened when you have taken Yisrael or the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the Creator out of it?
Oh yes, yes, definitely. Yeah, I see it. I see it every day, definitely on YouTube, because I don't actually don't go out that much, but I do see it on social media and YouTube a lot. But most of the stuff I do get I do get frustrated, but not to the point where I want to go out, and cuss somebody out. I just kind of accepted it, but I do see it. But then again, um, in order to change something like that, I'm gonna have to work on myself more before I can reach out to multiple people. So
Anybody else?
More Kanaki, I got his hand up, Adon. You can hear me, Adon?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. More Kanaki, I got his hand up.
Go ahead, Maury.
Shalom, shalom, Mishpika. Yeah, I see it a lot. Basically, we're living in a society now where a lot of our parents that have come up have began to allow their children, and it started in my generation and a little bit before, where they started allowing society and the television to shape our form of thinking. And as time goes on, of course, everyone is, with the Christian doctrine, we were taught, that the Old Testament was done away with, you know what I'm saying? And we were guarded away or herded away from the ideals of Yah that is exposed in Torah, in the Tanakh. And so as technology improves and as devices of wickedness increase, the warping of the mind, so to speak, has increased. So the conversations that are taking place and the actions that are taking place now are basically given to the masses by a few. For example, all these challenges that came out, you know what I'm saying? Whether the ice challenge or the knock the old person out challenge, the scripture says that men will be given more to the works of darkness and of the powers of this world. And so without Torah, without the mindset of righteousness given from Yah to our people as an example to the masses, those that are in power continue to program the masses to follow their agenda. And it's only going to be when we can come together and find common ground as a people and start showing that example, because you still got Israelites that participate in stuff just like they still in the world. You know what I'm saying? They doing the challenges and different things that they see the world do. And it's like, if we set apart, we're supposed to be different from that. So if the world doesn't see difference in us, then they're not going to change. And we're going to only be able to affect a small number anyway. But, once we come back into a oneness in the righteousness of Abba Yah, especially in executing Torah and walk in that wisdom and express that wisdom, can we begin to change people, one person at a time?
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. It's most definitely going to be one at a time. But it's doable. Like I was just on in the room with Mr. Dalton and all that, and it's like we're so quick to just get up and want to leave somewhere, but we haven't done the work here. It's like if you have children and they want to go, they want their own room and they want their own stuff. It's like the scripture says, if you are faithful with a little bit, I give you, I'll put you over much. And it's like now we want to go to Africa and do all these other things, but our people are dying here. Our people's thought processes and they're walking zombies here. But we're so quick to disconnect ourselves. Now at the beginning, everybody needs to disconnect. When you first come into this truth, it behooves you to disconnect from everything so that the Creator can rebuild you. But once you are rebuilt and the Most High is now able to use you, you should be a vessel that is willing to be used and not continue to separate yourself, because the whole reason He built you back up is to put you back out in the field. It's like going through training, but you train for a fight, but then you never fight. You train the ball, you up 5 o'clock in the morning shooting jump shots and all that. but you never try out for the team. It's like, what is all of this for if we're not going to do our job? We have a job. Like, even Joseph was put into captivity. He didn't ask to be there. However, while he was there, the Most High had him do work. I'm gonna put you to work. Daniel, he's in captivity. Didn't ask to be there, but nah, I'm not eating that. I'm gonna do it like this. But dang, I want to. Well, now you see the benefits of my diet as opposed to the diet that you gave the other one. Okay, can't nobody else figure out the dream. All right, well, let me and my brothers who are set apart, let me pray to the Creator. And now we come from our chamber out into the world and show you what the Creator has given to us. We're not doing that part. And that's why that's part of the reason why we're still here. Jumping and running and going to Africa for what? You can build there, but you can't build here. Just to separate yourself even more. Man, I just didn't come to, get anything off my chest. I do want to have a conversation, but it's just bothering me, the mentality of people outside the walk and the mentality of people in the walk who don't want to go to those who are outside of the walk. Are you?
That's why we should focus on building here first before we try to build anywhere else. You know, if you read through Torah and Tanakh, every little captivity that our Israel was put in, our ancestors was put in, they built in their land. You know, yes, we do have our brothers and sisters out here in the other countries, and our brothers and sisters in the other countries should be trying to build over there to make Israel strong. You know, you see what's going on right now with Israel. There's a war going on over there in Israel. It's all on the news. It popped on my news thing on CNN today. Um, it's a struggle over that land. I know a lot of our brothers been in this walk. Been talking about moving back to the land over there. But the key thing, the Most High said, "I will bring you back to the land." That was the key words from Yah. Yah said, "I will bring you back to the land." Um, and you're right, Adam. I'm with you 100% that we have to start reaching our people that's in this land here. We have to start coming together. We have to start building. You know, I know many times before we had discussion about other nations building. I always use China. You got a bunch of Chinese. They build Chinatowns in this country here. You know, they ain't saying, "Well, I'm gonna go run back to China." And they build. They use what they have here and they build. We need to start building. And when the Most High called us back to go to the land of milk and honey, He was bringing back the milk and honey. But I don't knock any other brothers and sisters who try to go to the other countries. But me and Adon Shamat was talking about, we had two brothers that was trying to go to, uh, one that go to Africa, and he told him about Adon Mikael over there, but the other brother didn't want to go over there with Adon Mikael. Like, what the sense go now? You ain't gonna go ahead and build with your brother that already went over there to start building. So you're right, Adon. It starts from here. You know, we got to start here. We got to come together here and start building, waking up the people. You know, because Israel was put on them slave ships down in this land for a reason. Um, and we still got a lot of work on this land before we could leave this land. We got work to do. Both sides gave us a task, because we have a task to do while we're in this land here. So we need to step up and take the responsibility of the Most High want us to do and build with our people, wake our people up, come together. You know, we could talk about religion, we could talk about all the other nations, but I see in just watching some of the posters on Facebook and YouTube, we still fighting among ourselves in our community, in the Hebrew Israelite community. We still have some of our brothers and sisters still doing the same thing they were doing before they came into the community. Still doing what they're doing in religion and doing what the other nations doing. Like we is no better. Like some of our people in this walk is not no better than the people that's not in this walk. You know, sometimes it make you feel embarrassed that y'all say y'all calling yourself Hebrew Israelites, the children of the Most High, but you act like this or towards each other. You know, through His children. So I'm this is a good discussion to talk about today for the study, man. Told Don, I'm a yield from there. I'm gonna give the floor to any other of the brothers. I see Shalom will have his hand up. You got the floor, Shalom.
And shalom, shalom, everyone. I had to step away to help my daughter with something. So before I make any comments or ask any questions, can I get like a refresh of what the topic is?
You said to restate the question, right, Adon?
Okay.
Okay. So pretty much is just uh an observation of what the absence of the thought process or knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the creator um gives way to in the non-Yisrael circles and thought processes, the way that other people think, so on and so forth, even of our people, like within our communities, the way that we think, the way that we reason, the way that we move without Yah. And then on the other hand, you see us who are supposed to have it together, who don't go to these people in order to help them. And why is that? And do you see that that is a problem?
Okay, I think I understand. Um, just from a lot of the stuff that I see and hear from people in the Black conscious community or in the larger quote unquote Black community at large here in the United States, a lot of it is kind of like people are trying to find a way to become autonomous or to do things on their own, but they don't really have a sense of direction of how to get there. You know, some want to be on the revolutionary tip. You know, if we get guns and ammo, we train, we do this, when we do that, you know, eventually one day we'll be able to do this, that, and the third. You hear a lot of that from a lot of RBG people, even Nation of Islam. That's kind of what they do with their Fruit of Islam, that part of their larger group. A lot of people have that ideology. A lot of people are still under the ideology of we, you know, we vote and we build, you know, political systems and we try to pretty much get in with the system that we're in and get enough of a voice. You know, that's how we get it done. But we've seen, you know, the last 70, 100 so years, pretty much since we came off the plantation officially, and even some cases not, that hasn't worked. So basically, the system that we're amongst, the government that we're under has guided our people into certain paths, kind of like the old lab rat in the maze type of situation. Look, you can go this way, you can go this way, but here's the cheese. But us as a people, we never get the cheese. But us in the community, we understand that the Most High is a lamp to our feet and a light to our path. You know, the Most High is how We should be led and guided through all situations. But the problem with that is, and I've witnessed this personally within some of our Israelite circles, we look down on the people outside of our smaller Israelite community, people who know that they're Israel, because they don't keep the Torah, or they don't see a certain person as Mashiach, or whatever the case may be. So we separate ourselves on those guidelines, in which we all know that. I'm not saying anything that's like foreign or interesting, haha, to anybody on this line, which is part of the reason why we're here, you know. But I think the issue that I'm seeing both in and out the community is, number one, how much are we truly relying on Yah to get done what we're done? And that's kind of like a larger scale kind of thing. But to scale it down to maybe us here and other Israelite communities, we know who the creator is. We serve the creator, we keep the Shabbats, we keep the feast days. We try to, in word and in some action, spread this knowledge and this love of the creator that we learn through the Torah and the rest of the Tanakh and the Brit Hadashah. We try to spread that to people, But I think in actually trying to build something, my question would be, well, what are we building? A community. Okay, that's kind of vague. What are we specifically building? What resources do we need to build it? How are we collecting these resources? Who's in charge of getting this done, getting that done? We're just saying, we want to do something. We got to get up and do something, but we have to narrow and focus that in, because I honestly believe that the enemy has put checks and balances on us. He knows that for whatever specific certain reasons, these are the roadblocks that's going to keep us from actually getting it together, whether it be ideology, whether it be lack of organization, whether it be, whatever the case may be. Just like how Uncle Bet always says, these Chinatowns all over this country, San Francisco, New York, wherever you go, there's a Chinatown. You go anywhere in our communities, you have Arabs and Indian people and Koreans, whoever, who own businesses in our own communities. And they have this because when they come over here, or as they go on generation to generation, the wealth stays within their community and they build each other up. They don't tear each other down. They don't choose not to patronize each other because of, their prices, little stuff like that. But it's important to them to build their community up for their children. They're trying to send their children to school. They want to pass their business to their children or send their children to be doctors or whatever the case may be. They're more inheritance minded. Where us, because we've never really had anything like that. Our parents, most of our parents weren't able to pass us down anything because all they did, they just worked. They sacrificed, they worked every day, 2, 3, whatever, how many jobs they had to do just to make sure that their family was taken care of. But they didn't, because of many different reasons, have it to pass down something to us. So that puts us at a disadvantage on that end. But us being children of the creator of the heaven and earth, I mean, that's a factor. And when you in ignorance, when you don't know, when you're in darkness, but when you're in the light, that's something that we can overcome. So my thing, just to wrap the whole thing up, we have to learn how to be more diplomatic. We have to learn how to be less dogmatic. We have to be able to go out there and meet people where they are and learn how to work with them. And then eventually, show them through our actions and that we really live this book. You can prove identity and all this other kind of stuff all you want, but until they see the functionality in it and to see that it's actually paying off and results, and they can point to you and say, I didn't really believe that, the Bible was the white man's book. And I used to think this and that, but this brother Daoud over here, David, however they know you, all he talks about is his Bible. All he talks about is Yah. And I see him doing this, not only just in his own household or amongst his own group of people, but in the larger community. He seeks the peace of the city. We talk about that a lot. And also as a group, what needs to be done to get this community built? What financially, where are we financially? What needs to, where are these resources going? What do we need to do with these resources? Who's in charge of this? Who's in charge of that? Other than just saying, well, we're building something. We're building something. What are we building, and how do people, because me and Shay actually had this conversation a couple of weeks ago. You know, I don't know if we're just looking for people just to take initiative on certain things, but a lot of times people need the structure of this is being delegated to this one, that one, and the third, and accountability to make sure everything's being run properly and everything's getting done. You know, a lot of people aren't just going to step up and go and do something out of the blue. Nariah stepping up and bringing his family's land for our use was something that not everyone can or is able to do, if you understand where I'm going with that. So I feel like as though from what I'm seeing, we need the structure to be, you know, who's doing this, who's doing that, and then what kind of timetable are we working with? What resources need to be put to this project and that project to bring it all together like a puzzle and get this thing done? And I think that in the larger community is what's not happening, because we all have so many different ideas of how we can get this done that we're not centralizing our efforts. But on that, I yield.
Sheesh. Um, hmm. So, hmm. So we do have to organize that a little bit better in order to get everybody involved, which is what we kind of were talking about. I'm a year right now. Marlon has his hand up. Well, I'm gonna touch on that in a second. Go ahead, Adon, Marlon.
So one of the things that we're doing is we're looking at all of these other, I guess, nations and their Chinatowns, etc. And we don't understand the spirit that is behind that, right? A lot of Chinatowns have a lot of activities that are not above board. And they actually, I'm not sure if you all are familiar with the tongues. I actually have, coming from Trinidad, there actually is a Chinese association in Trinidad, and what you see on TV is true. The Chinese association pays for people to come, and for the next 10 or 15 years or whatever, they own your life. Like, they exploit their people. And yeah, it looks like Chinatown is being built up, but who is it being built up for? We had our own Black Wall Streets, we had our own all of these things, right? And the fact of the matter is, when you look at the curses promise that we would never be the head until we humble ourselves, call upon Yah, and He hears our prayer. So what we need to do might not necessarily be, because we might be focusing on building these businesses, but is that what Yah wants us to do? Like, are we Yah focused first? Like, are we looking at, okay, if I invest in, for example, if I invest in the kids in Dawood school, right? They're not my kids, but that's an investment for Yah, because these are going to be people who are going to serve Yah. So I can't look at it and be like, well, these are not my kids. I'm going to put money here, but it doesn't benefit me, because the purpose shouldn't be looking towards benefiting me. It should be benefiting Yah. And then if we start with that mentality, the ideas are going to come that are going to prosper. And then if they are Yah centered, they're going to be protected. But if they're not, Scripture talks a lot about storing up stuff in a barn, and we know what can happen one famine, one season, and everything that you work for is gone. So what is it that we're trying to do for Yah first? That's the question.
Sheesh. Which goes back to one. Shlomo, go ahead, Adon.
Okay, I'll be quick because I know you have a point that you want to get out before Marlon went on. Excuse me. I think, Brother Marlon, and I'm really anyone else, it's not necessarily to do something in the spirit of Black Wall Street or in Chinatown. I know Uncle Bet uses that example just to show that, you know, a people that are unified can get a lot more done. Now, I understand there's, you know, more specifics behind that. And that goes on to, like you said, the curses, but also if we as a people or the leaders of our people are in the will of the creator, do the curses affect us? I think no. I think also in the book of Jeremiah, it says to in captivity to build homes and build families and things of that sort. So I think the prerequisite for what we're doing here is exactly what you're saying, Brother Marlon, is we have to reach out to the creator, humble ourselves. And I don't know everyone's personal business here on this line, but I'd like to be a little forward in saying I believe that that's what we are trying to do. I don't think we'd, you know, be here if we didn't have that mindset of coming back to the creator and, you know, honesty and truth and doing his will on the earth, you know, being a light, being a salt of the earth. And just like Dawood's, the schools, for example, my daughter's a student at that school, you know, so I understand on a personal level what they're doing and uh, how they're trying to build these children up. These are the same children that you all see on feast days and whenever we're around each other. It may not personally benefit you, but we're building our nation because they are the nation, the children. That's just the point that I wanted to make since you had made that statement. These children are supposed to carry the mantle after us. And if we don't prepare them, going back to something I said before about how, you know, our parents worked hard, but they couldn't leave us anything to build off of so much so. And I can't speak for everyone because I don't know everyone's situation, but I know most people in the Black community, their parents work, work, and work. And then, excuse me, we continue on this cycle of working. You know, a lot of our parents didn't leave us businesses and didn't leave us this and didn't leave us that. That's fine because now that we are seeking this relationship with the creator, these curses that cause those things should be broken up off of us. So I don't want it to be thought that we should come with the mindset of a Black Wall Street or Rosewood or whatever, where we can just, you know, work our way out of this Babylonian system on our own. No, the Most High is first and foremost, always and forever. But I also don't think he wants us to be sitting here waiting just for something to happen. He wants us to be the boots on the ground, bringing his kingdom to the earth, just like them in the model prayer. You know, your will be done on heaven as it is in earth. He has us here as Mashiachs, you know, in the earth until Mashiach comes and brings in the new age or the new kingdom, the new heaven, the new earth. But until then, it's our jobs to get working, to build something, a safe haven out of this Babylonian system for our people to come to. And like I was saying before, people respond when they see the functionality of something actually coming to fruition. If as long as we're just talking about it, and frankly, in some cases, talking over people's heads, they're never going to get it. But when we put, you know, our head down and we get to work and people see things going, then they're going to understand, oh, okay, this is what they meant. And this is the effectivity of what they're talking about. So we can get this done. But yeah, I don't want you to think that I'm referring to, you know, we can just build businesses and do this and do that and just build our way out. The Most High is first, but also we as a group personally, True Light and the Remnant, we're talking about building the community. People are donating money to get this community built. So what are we doing? What are our financial goals? Where are these resources going to? And who's responsible for what? So we think so that we can get these goals done. That's not even on like a Black Wall Street thing. That's something that we've been talking about, at least to my knowledge, since Sukkot and Maurice Samat. He's been talking about that accordingly with other people for 15 years. So where are we on that? That's what my question was. How you?
And real quick, Maury Dawu, before you jump in, because I didn't get to hear the beginning of this, but first of all, shalom, shalom, Mishpachah, shalom, shalom, all my Achim. Shlomo, I heard you speak the first time, and you spoke very well. And the way you articulated everything that you said, you spoke very well and brought a lot of key points and good points. But in regards to the dialogue that you and Marlon are having now, it needs to be understood that what we've been doing in our studies and our discussions, everything is Yah-centered first anyway. And we're asking y'all what to do. And as Shlomo said, we have to put something into action because it tells you in the cities that you're going to be scattered in, build your homes, do this, do that, establish yourself. So, and it says, as Shlomo said, that if we are actually being set apart, I'm sorry, actually, let's go behind. She got 1 second. Men study twice a week, the gift study, we're doing that to try to say what does the Father have for us because we are Yah-centered. And being Yah-centered, we're now trying to say actions have to come. And by us actually having some tangible things come together, it will also have the non-believers start to accept the Most High because they will see something. And some of us have to see something. And so also in support of what Shlomo was saying, we made reference to Maury Dawood. So there are people now that we fellowship with because of Maury Dawood's business, him in the school system. People going to the school system, to the school, they've met him, they see his character, as Shlomo said. So if we have more stuff going on within a community and we're doing things, like you said, we're walking in the character and the businesses that we establish is Yah-centered business. Like it's different than anything anybody's ever experienced. When we're going to be shut down on Shabbat, all that will also esteem the name of the Creator because anything we do, we're going to keep Shabbat. It's going to be shut down on Shabbat. Whatever. It will also give the world, whatever community that he has us established in, they will be able to actually see Yah-centered individuals, loving, caring, kind, being blessed as Abraham's seed is supposed to be if they're keeping the commandments. And in order to be blessed like that, we may need to start following the Elohim that they follow. That's just my little short portion, but I have a lot of answer, a lot of response later. But like Shlomo said, we have to do those things, and anything we're doing, it is Yah-centered. We're not just trying to establish business for business, but like myself personally, I'm back on a plantation. I ran my own business for many years. I haven't worked for nobody in like 15 years, but now I'm back on a plantation for like 4 years, 3 years, 4 years. And I have much more freedom with my own. So as Shlomo was saying, if we passing things down, it actually frees up our people to actually observe Shabbat, to actually have income coming in where we're establishing the hours, the schedule to get off with enough time to have time for your Yaladim and your children, not overworking you overtime. Like it's just a whole visual mindset. So the scriptural aspect is not just coming together for worship, but it's also producing the function of the life that Yah wants his children to live. And so that is our vision. As Shlomo said, he wanted to kind of say, he believes he speaks for all, but in agreement to what he said, he speaks for me because I'm on the same mindset of him, not knocking anyone else's perspective, but real short. And something else Shlomo was saying about what are we doing, this, that, and why aren't we doing certain things, or what does it take to get certain things done? Part of it is with different mindsets, different understandings, and when you come together with large groups, you keep hearing these same conversations over and over and over. The what if, and not knocking that, that's what happens. But me, Uncle Bet, and Dawood, we're already working on some things with others to get things together, and it's a process. So that in itself, just getting through the continual talking and getting from the talking to the action is a big thing. And so the curses has made it the reason why we don't have anything. And like when and I definitely get what you're saying, Marlon, about the Chinatown, because there's a different ruach behind a lot of what we see. And yes, we know the Yakuza and all different type things that the exploitation, we get that because that's their wickedness. But we just use that as an example, because still, even with that, there's still people living in the states that live comfortably in those towns that do not know the intricate details to actually what it really is that goes on to the establishment of those towns or whatever other towns there may be. It is just an example of saying we don't have our own. And then my last little statement, I was talking with Maury Casada about earlier today. In North Carolina, they will not see my daughter because we're refusing vaccination. So they won't see her. The pediatricians won't see her because we're refusing to vaccinate. So now it's North Carolina thing. They just won't see them. And like, how you not gonna see a baby? If y'all are vaccinated, why do y'all fear seeing a child that's not vaccinated? If y'all are all vaccinated, what's the fear? So we had to go through all these different resources and channels to try to find a pediatrician to help us. And one of the places that I turned to was the Muslim community. And it's a shame that we as Hebrews, who are truly the Most High's chosen people, don't have enough together that other communities, regardless of the negativity behind how it might be established, the lack of who they serve or don't serve, or the error in how they serve, but the unity in how they come together to have their own. So you can call a Muslim leader and say, your children are not, y'all didn't do the immunization. What doctors do y'all use? What doctors do y'all, they have that in some of them because it's a more togetherness. And so as Shlomo was saying, that's our visual, not necessarily on just building businesses, but building a community that functions under Yah as the center of it. So I yield Maury Dawood. I'm sorry, I just kind of want to build from that point. But go ahead, Maury Dawood. I just yield to that point. But we have a lot more, and I got a lot of answers for some of the things Shlomo asked. But I yield, Maury.
I mean, you can definitely give those answers if you want. I was want to talk about that with you offline, but I mean, if you want to give him more insight, that's told.
Well, that's what the meeting was going to be about on Yom Kamishi. Instead of doing the study, I was going to have that. Yeah, so that stuff will be coming out then. So yeah, I was just going to let him know that, yeah, you know, that a lot of that's coming out on that meeting. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's so as a don't say, it's most definitely a process. We just gotta remember why we're doing it. It's not to save our own lives or anything like that. One, it is to fulfill the commandment of manifesting his kingdom on the earth by fulfilling his will. But it's also for those who do not know him to see something to where that they can come from the physical and then get introduced to the spiritual. You have to do both. So I mean, Adon Marlon.
So I think people might have misunderstood what I'm saying. I'm not knocking anything we're trying to do. As I said, I look at Dawood's school. I don't have kids, but I recognize investing in that is actually investing in Yah because it's building up the character of the nation, as Shlomo said, right? But one of the things that I always look at, like you look at Mashiach's life, right? His example was going out there and meeting the needs of the people. So like prison ministries, food banks, like that kind of stuff. To me, that should be a priority in establishing what we're trying to do. And based on that, that is where I think the Baraka would come to provide opportunities to do other stuff. Because some of the other stuff we're trying to do, Yah could easily open doors that we are not aware of and make it easy. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying don't do, and so Mac knows, right? I'm actually having discussions of functions of an assembly with other people, and we're discussing it. So I'm not saying we don't do what we're doing here, but we also need to focus on the things that are only for like our prison ministry doesn't. I don't think it directly benefits us, right? That is definitely for Yah's purpose. And I'm gonna yield on that.
Yeah, Don, we wasn't taking it that way because we understand you just presenting a different view, and so just in responding, it was just a response. But yeah, we didn't think that you were against anything. But however, like the prison ministries and things like that, a lot of that already goes on. You know what I'm saying? It just the thing is, it has to be more communication and more unity for everyone to know what does go on and what doesn't go on. And so with those things going on, it does not mean it cannot run simultaneously. Like it's just different aspects of this walk. Like that is a part of the ministry. So we do that. But then the other portion is a portion that we're saying need to be done too. Like we need to be the pillars of the community in all aspects. You know, as one of the elders was working on, had one called Gilgal Foundation. Because when you go and you look at the scriptures about Gilgal and about the pillars and the posts, you know, he's looking at those two posts, Joachim and Boaz, you know, and looking at the pillars of supporting the community. So, like you're saying, we have to do those things. We have to get back to the community, food banks and things like that. But part of the community and what we're doing in the community will be supporting those very things. Because with community, with our own food bank, we will have our own food to be able to provide clean, not contaminated food for the people once we learn better how to have these things ourselves. So we have that. Then along with the finances or the time, as Shlomo was saying about all the hours that their parents work, a lot of us is doing the very same thing. Like we just do come out for Shabbat, you know what I'm saying? But because these jobs take up so much time, if we're creating our own, it also creates while doing the job or while doing the things we're trying to found, if we have our own finances coming in that can support us, it also frees us up for the ministry, because sometimes the prison ministries and stuff get halted when shifts change. So those of us that may have already been doing prison ministry, when your job switches a shift and you have to take a new job, you no longer have the time on hand to do those things. So so we're not taking it that you are in any way speaking negative or against. It's just there are so many different aspects that have to be discussed. And that's what I'm saying. So on the calls and different things, there's always going to be so many different perspectives. And so sometimes we just got to target one thing at a time and move forward from there. But yes, that is definitely of utmost importance. Prison ministries, walk like Mashiach. But then, you know, there still also has to be business and things going on and establishment going on at the same time to sustain those that may be in the prison ministry, or someone's job that's trying to force them to work on Shabbat. We may be able to tell someone to walk in their imunah, walk in your faith. And then walking in your faith, because we have establishment that you were told you can come work the land, man, the land, you and your family is good because we have something and we are established. So that's just the in short version of Dawn of what we're saying. So now we're not taking it that way. It's just so many different aspects to look at in regards to what we're doing. So for us, and like I said, us on this call is always going to be y'all business first. You know what I'm saying? That's our mindset. So that goes back to what you've been saying, Marlon, for the longest. And now also what Shlomo said, delegating certain things to certain people, not only for the community building, but also for the function of the ministry, such as who can go to the prisons, who can go to the streets, who can do the evangelism. So all of that is things that we have to get structured. But before we can do those things, there has to be more unity. And that's what this call has all been designed for like what you're doing tonight, to express those differences. But before we got to expressing this, we started studying together and we built brotherhood and friendships. And that's what's going to help us be able to labor together in this and try to establish some of the things the Creator has for us to establish. And there's no gas nowhere. So I'm going back home. All right. Yeah, the floor is, I yield. But yeah, so yeah, Marlon, we definitely on the same page.
Okay. Adon Marlon, is that an old hand? Or you got your hand up again?
That was an old one.
Okay. Well, yeah, definitely. Look, things have to be expedited. Definitely. I mean, right now people running out of gas and they got no gas. So the signs of what's coming are becoming more apparent. So obviously we have to move a little bit faster on what we're doing. But it's not as if we haven't done anything. Um, Now it's just time to, put in more work, which is going to occur with everybody doing their own thing. Like Shlomo, you're once again in the security field. You're getting more knowledge. So then once we do have to leave and break off, you know how to do things security wise that most of us online outside of military personnel don't. Like that's going to help in that regard. So whenever we flip the switch, you're already there. We have people who, are efficient in more areas than one. And we kind of know that, and we are putting those things in place, but it's just gonna take time. Mm. Anybody else? Okay, well, I guess nobody else got anything else to add to that. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have for tonight. We just got to speed up obviously what we're doing. We are gonna have the meeting on Kamishi, uh, uh, with it don't leading, so we can answer a lot of the questions that some have. For Shabbat, we will be up that way, so hopefully we can kind of schedule some type of tour for everybody that's coming to see the land for those who want to. Um, Speaking of Shabbat, uh, we need to have some type of head count in the donation per head as well, and hopefully by the end of the week, because we have to turn everything in on this upcoming Shani or a Monday. So if you once again, it's $50 per adult. All the children are free. Um, so please send that in if possible. Um, yeah, outside of that, really don't have any other announcements. Maurice Samant, you got any other announcements?
Lower Dome, just a good conversation. Like I said, we just continue. Well, go ahead. Who got the floor? Go ahead. Was that Maury? Can I ask somebody? They can have the floor.
No, don't. Exactly. It's on you.
I thought I heard somebody else talking. Okay, yeah, no, just other than like I said, that's what we'll be discussing in more detail on Kamishi. So on this topic, and like you said, it is time because from the pandemic to the to what's going on now to a lot of what's going on behind the scenes, you know what I'm saying, and right in our face as well. Y'all telling us to prepare. There's some that's been having dreams, like say 3 weeks ago before this even happened, and now this happened. You know what I'm saying? So it is a time to prepare. And so one thing we can't do is over spiritualize the word. And when I say over spiritualize the word, it's kind of like what the church do, and everything is like the word is all spiritual, when actually that word is a history book. And there were things taking place and things that our people were doing. And we got to put our hand to the plow and do something along with our spirituality also to produce something tangible. So, and so when it really hits, you know what I'm saying, at least we will have some type of preparation, some type of stuff together, or at least an infrastructure to know how to move and how to be there one for another. So, and as Marlon was saying, anything we do, and I will just share this little part. One of the things that we did make sure we got established with some is that these communities that we're trying to establish has nothing to do with the benefit of any individual or person. It's for the nation, it's for our people. So as Marlon was saying, it's supposed to be everything we do is supposed to be for the Most High and what the Most High want us to do. And even when you look at now what's going on with those that's being put out of Israel, if we was already established, we might have had a place for them. You know what I'm saying? Because we still don't know what's going to happen with them, and we don't even know if that's what Yah would have led us to do. But the point is, if we would have been established, at least we could have been a helping hand or aid of some sort to them, and to anyone in the community that needs. So I'm going to get to that point. Yeah, everything has to be Yah centered first, and being a help the Yah's people and be a servant. So I'm going to yield and total everybody for tuning in.
Hallelujah. So we're gonna go ahead and in tonight's session. Uh, Jacqueline, More Kanakia, would you be able to pray us out?
Okay, let's pray. Abba, Yah, we give praise and esteem to you. We thank you for this time of brainstorming, Father, and communication. Father, we thank you for the oneness of mind, heart, and spirit that you're developing within this group, Father. And we believe you for the manifestation of even greater wisdom and a greater showing of your presence, Father. We thank you now for the ideas given to your people, for the resources granted to make the things happen according to the vision in which you give. We thank you for the unity of the leadership, Father Yah, and the unity of the brethren. For we will build because we have a mind. And I thank you, Father, for giving us oneness of mind, that we may be a light unto you in this earth, to reestablish your kingdom to those who are without, that they may seek you through us, Father, as you declared in your word. And we praise you, Father, for the mores, for the elders, Father Yah, for the brethren, the husbands, the wives, the children. You get the esteem, you get the glory from us, for we yield to you wholeheartedly. And we thank you, Father, for the power to get the wealth, for we shall remember you, Father Yah, and we will proclaim your name in this earth. And we give all esteem to you now. Your kingdom come, your will be done. And we honor you, Father, for all that you do. Baruch Yahweh Allah. Baruch Haba Hashem Yahweh. Baruch Hashem Yahweh Allah. Amen. Hallelujah.